Thank you for joining me again today. What an incredible journey we've been on as we have continued in this study over the last number of weeks. Today we are into the 17th study where we are seeking to answer the question, who is this Jesus? Now in this study we're going to be looking at Jesus as the Good Shepherd. Philip Keller shared the peril of what he refers to as a cast sheep in his book, A Shepherd Looks at Psalm 23. Now, a cast sheep is one that has fallen flat on its back and is unable to get back up on its own. This position poses an especially risky situation for the sheep as it becomes an easy target for the many predators who are out seeking their next meal. And without the rapid intervention of the shepherd, that sheep will die. Now I want to stop here and I want to take a look at what Jesus is teaching us in John chapter 10, beginning with verse 1, going down through verse 18. Jesus says, I tell you the truth. Anyone who sneaks over the wall of a sheepfold rather than going through the gate must surely be a thief and robber. But the one who enters through the gate is the shepherd of the sheep. The gatekeeper opens the gate for him, and the sheep recognize his voice, and they come to him. He calls his own sheep by name, and he leads them out. Now, after he has gathered his own flock, he walks ahead of them, and they follow him because they recognize his voice. They won't follow a stranger. They will run from him because they don't know his voice. Those who heard Jesus use this illustration didn't understand what he meant, so he explained it to them. I tell you the truth, I am the gate for the sheep. All who came before me were thieves and robbers, but the true sheep did not listen to them. Yes, I am the gate. Those who come in through me will be saved. They will come and go freely and will find good pastures. The thief's purpose is to steal and kill and destroy. My purpose is to give them a rich and a satisfying life. I'm the good shepherd. The good shepherd sacrifices his life for the sheep. A hired hand will run when he sees a wolf coming. He will abandon the sheep because they don't belong to him and he isn't their shepherd, and so the wolf attacks them and scatters the flock. The hired hand runs away because he's working only for the money and doesn't really care about the sheep. I am the good shepherd. I know my sheep and they know me. Just as my Father knows me and I know the Father, so I sacrifice my life for the sheep. I have other sheep too. They are not in this sheepfold. I must bring them also. They will listen to my voice, and there will be one flock with one shepherd. The Father loves me because I sacrifice my life so I may take it back again. No one can take my life from me. I sacrifice it voluntarily, for I have the authority to lay it down when I want to, and also to take it up again, for this is what my Father has commanded. Beautiful passage of Scripture. Now, as sheep, folks, we need the Good Shepherd, the one who identifies himself as such in both verses 11 and 14. You know, as a shepherd, Jesus cares for us. He watches over us. He guides us. He protects us. He defends us, and he rescues us. What is truly incredible is that he knows each of us by name, as we find in verse 3. In verse 4, we read here that those who belong to him, they hear his voice, they know his voice, they recognize his voice, and he leads us through the ups and the downs of this life. Now, in ancient Near Eastern culture, shepherding was a common metaphor for kingship. The ideal king would behave very much like a good shepherd, working to create a safe environment for his people, his flock, as well as ensuring the well-being of those same people and nation. So when Jesus asserted his authority at the end of this passage, he wasn't really changing topics, but rather what he was doing was he was identifying himself to not only be our shepherd, but to also be our king. Jesus is our King as well as our shepherd. You know, it's interesting to note in the early part of the passage how the shepherd is strongly contrasted against the thief and the hired hands. You know, thieves and robbers, which represented by the enemies of God, they only desire to harm the flock. And while the hired hands might be better, they're going to run away when danger comes because they're really not invested into the sheep as the shepherd is, as we see in verses 12 and 13. These can represent the false shepherds or bad religious leaders, which we have seen many of. Christ is an exceptional shepherd. As the passage tells us in verses 11 and 15 and 17, Jesus loved us so much that he voluntarily laid down his life for us. His selfless goal is our eternal salvation, that he may give us a rich and a satisfying life, as verse 10 shares. Now, as his sheep, our best choice is to follow, to trust, and to stay close to him always. Folks, I tell you, we are incredibly blessed to have Jesus as our great shepherd today. Think seriously about these things, and may God bless you as you do so. Until next time.